They say the tracks are just old steel and wood, but no one ever explains the handprints. No one talks about the children that never made it home. And if you try to cross, something follows. There's a part of San Antonio where the roads split like old scars. Just past the edge of town, where houses thin out and the trees lean in a little too close, there's a place locals avoid after dark. The railroad tracks near Shane Road. You won't find it listed on any tour map, but everyone in the area knows the story, even if they pretend not to. They call them the ghost tracks, but not because trains pass through. No, these tracks are long out of service, rusted, overgrown, dead. Yet cars still move over them, sometimes, even when the engine is off. It's the kind of urban legend kids whisper about at sleepovers. The kind of place you go on a dare. Supposedly, back in the 1930s or 40s, no one knows the exact date, a school bus full of children stalled right on those tracks. The driver, panicked, tried to restart the engine, but before he could, a train came, fast, loud, unstoppable. They say everyone on board was killed instantly. No survivors. The wreckage was cleared, the tracks cleaned, but something never left. Over time, people reported strange happenings, cars rolling uphill against gravity, children's fingerprints appearing on dusty bumpers, soft laughter when no one else was around. Locals say if you park your car on the tracks and put it in neutral, invisible hands will push you off, as if trying to save you from the same fate. Some think it's the spirits of those children, trying to prevent another tragedy. Others aren't so sure. My name is Leo Martinez. I grew up just 10 minutes from those tracks. I'd heard the stories 1,000 times. I laughed at them, mocked them, even repeated them like a good local, but I never believed them. Not until the night we tried it for ourselves. It was late September, just as the Texas heat started to back off. I was home from college visiting my little sister, Jasmine, and our cousin Marco had come over too. We were bored, restless, and maybe a little drunk on our own nostalgia. That's when Jasmine brought it up. Let's go to the tracks. Marco perked up. Seriously? Yeah. Let's do the whole thing. Powder the trunk, turn the engine off, wait to get pushed. Like we used to talk about. I rolled my eyes. You're both ridiculous. Nothing's gonna happen. That's why... It's perfect, Jasmine said, smiling. You're the skeptic. Come prove us wrong. I don't know why I agreed. Maybe it was ego. Maybe it was boredom. Or maybe deep down I needed to see something I couldn't explain. Something that made the world feel stranger than lectures and deadlines. So around 11:45 p.m., we piled into Marco's old Toyota Corolla and made our way through the back roads. The city lights dimmed behind us, swallowed by oak trees and hushed streets. We passed a couple of ranch fences, a dried-up creek, and finally, a bent metal sign that simply read, "Stop ahead." Beyond it were the tracks. They looked harmless. Uneventful, just two old rails cutting across a forgotten road. Marco slowed to a crawl. Here we go. We stopped just before the tracks, like the legend said. Jasmine, ever the enthusiast, pulled out a bottle of baby powder from her bag. For fingerprints, she said, dusting the trunk until it shimmered under the streetlight. Marco pulled onto the tracks, then shifted the car into neutral. Everyone quiet, Jasmine whispered. Just wait. The engine hummed down. Silence swallowed the cabin. The cicadas stopped. Even the breeze seemed to hesitate. Then we felt it. A nudge, barely there, like someone had tapped the back bumper with a finger. Then another, a bit stronger. The car was moving uphill. Marco's hands shot off the wheel. I'm not doing that. I know, I muttered. I see your feet. The car kept rolling, slow, steady, as if pushed by invisible hands. None of us spoke. We were too busy watching the rearview mirror, half expecting something to appear. After about 20 feet, the car stopped. Dead still, no wind, no engine, nothing. We sat frozen for a second, and then Jasmine leaned over and whispered, "Check the powder." Marco and I stepped out, our legs shaky. We walked to the back of the car, phone lights in hand, and there they were, fingerprints. Small, dozens of them. as if children had pressed their hands against the trunk and pushed. Some streaked downward, some were perfect prints. But they were there. Jasmine gasped behind us. "You see them too, right?" I nodded. "Yeah." Marco reached out and touched one. "They're real, but something felt wrong. I couldn't explain it. It wasn't fear. It was something colder, deeper, like we'd woken something up. I should have left then. But we didn't. We made the mistake of going back the next night. We should have taken that one experience for what it was, a creepy, unexplainable moment and a warning to leave well enough alone. But Marco was the kind of guy who didn't stop at strange. He needed proof, evidence. "Anyone can fake fingerprints," he said the next morning. "Maybe someone rigged it. Maybe gravity's weird there." Jasmine and I weren't so eager, but something about the way those fingerprints looked, so small, so human, kept looping in my head. They weren't smudges. They were impressions, clear ridges. Some pressed so hard it looked like a desperate push, like the kids were afraid of something we couldn't see. "Still," Marco insisted. He wanted to go back. Not just for the ghost push test, but to go deeper. He'd read online that if you stayed long enough and were quiet enough, you might hear their voices. Some even claimed to see them, children standing in the mist. Near the tracks or walking across the road at midnight, heads low, eyes hollow. He also found a post in an old paranormal thread. Someone had visited the site and heard a voice say, "They're not saving you, they're stopping you." I wish I'd never heard that sentence. By nightfall, we were on our way again. This time, Marco brought more gear, EMF reader, audio recorder, his DSLR camera. He was treating it like a ghost hunt. Jasmine was quieter, nervous. She kept looking at her phone like she was waiting for a reason to bail. I should have stopped them. I felt something wasn't right. That cold sensation I'd had the night before hadn't gone away. It lingered, on my skin, in my spine, like whatever had touched us, remembered. We arrived at the tracks just before midnight. No cars, no lights, just the wooden poles of the old signal, leaning sideways like they were trying to escape. The sky was cloudless, the air thick with stillness. Even the trees didn't move. We parked a few feet before the tracks this time, leaving the engine off to conserve the battery. "This time," Marco said, setting up the camera, "we record everything." He dusted the trunk with fresh powder. Set the EMF reader on the dashboard. Then he placed a voice recorder on the roof of the car. We all got back in and waited. For 5 minutes, nothing happened. No sounds, no movement. Then a knock. 3 soft knocks on the rear window. Tap, tap, tap. Jasmine turned. "Did you hear that?" Marco nodded, reaching for the camera remote. "Let's wait." Another few seconds passed. Then the car began to move, again in neutral, again uphill. Just like last time, but this time it felt rougher, not like gentle hands, like pushing through mud, like something didn't want us to go. Halfway across the tracks, the car stopped, dead, engine off, lights off, and then we heard it, a voice, faint. A child's voice from the left side of the tracks. It was crying, not screaming, not calling, just a slow, soft weep. Marco whispered, "Did you hear that?" Jasmine's hand gripped mine. She nodded. Then a second voice joined in, closer, whispers, not words, breathing, shuffling. Marco grabbed the EMF reader. The needle jumped. "They're here," he said, smiling. "Oh my God, they're actually—" Bang! Something slammed against the trunk, hard, then again and again. I turned back, expecting to see someone or something, but there was nothing. Just the darkness of the road behind us and the faint glimmer of the powdered trunk in the moonlight. Suddenly, Jasmine gasped. "Look!" A figure, small, thin, standing off to the right of the tracks, near the brush. It looked like a child, but not quite. Its proportions were wrong. Too tall for its age, limbs stiff, head tilted too far to the side. Its eyes weren't glowing. They were just missing. 2 black pits where a face should be. It didn't move. It just watched. Marco grabbed his camera, fumbled with the lens and aimed toward it. "Don't," I said. "Don't point it at them." But he already had. The moment the shutter clicked, the thing vanished. No movement, no sound. It was just gone. Then something whispered, right behind my ear. "You're not supposed to see," I screamed. Jasmine covered her mouth. Marco, still trying to snap another photo, suddenly clutched his head. "It's loud, it's so loud." "What is?" I shouted. "They're screaming." Inside my head, the car's radio turned on by itself. Static first, then children's voices, a jumble, crying, arguing. One phrase came through clear, "Don't let them go." Then the radio died again. Marco slammed his hand on the dash. "We need to leave now." The engine wouldn't start. Again and again, he turned the key. Click, click, nothing. We were trapped. Outside, the air grew colder. The windows began to fog, and in that fog, little handprints started to appear.